It's a random Tuesday. Milo is brushing his teeth, thinking about nothing in particular, and out of absolutely nowhere, his brain serves up a comment he made at a party 11 years ago. Nobody else remembers it. It genuinely did not matter. And yet his whole body cringes like it just happened 5 minutes ago. If your brain has ever ambushed you with something embarrassing from over a decade ago while you were just standing in line for coffee, you already know how strange this feels. And it's not a memory problem. It's actually your brain trying badly to protect you. Here's what nobody tells you about people who replay old embarrassing moments. It's not that they're insecure or overly sensitive, even though it can feel that way in the moment. There's a very specific mechanism behind it, one that was originally meant to be useful, and once you understand it, that sudden cringe stops feeling like a personal flaw and starts making a strange kind of sense. Let's start with why your brain would even bother keeping something like this around in the first place. Evolutionarily, social standing used to matter enormously for survival. Being excluded from a group wasn't just embarrassing, it could genuinely be dangerous, cutting someone off from protection, resources, community. So the brain developed a system specifically built to flag social mistakes and hold on to them tightly, the same way it holds on to memories of physical danger. Psychologists sometimes call this the social pain overlap, the discovery that social rejection and physical pain actually activate some of the same regions in the brain, which means, neurologically, an old embarrassing moment isn't filed away as trivial. It's filed away next to things that once genuinely threatened your safety. Here's the part that explains why these memories resurface completely unprompted, often years after they stopped mattering to literally anyone else. There's a phenomenon researchers call the spotlight effect, where people massively overestimate how much others noticed or remembered their mistakes in the first place. In the moment, it feels like everyone clocked it. In reality, most people were far too absorbed in their own self-consciousness to register it at all. But your brain doesn't know that. It only knows that a moment felt intensely exposing, and intensity, not actual importance, is largely what determines whether something gets locked into long-term memory. But wait, there's a deeper mechanism running underneath this, and it explains why the memory hits with the exact same emotional force years later. Psychologists call it intrusive memory replay, and it works differently from normal memory recall. Most memories fade and soften with distance, but memories tagged with high emotional intensity, especially shame, get stored with unusual vividness, almost frozen in time. This is why an embarrassing moment from your 20s can still trigger the exact same physical wince decades later, while you can barely remember what you had for lunch 3 days ago. Shame doesn't get filed the same way ordinary information does. It gets filed for retrieval. There's also a specific reason your brain chooses to bring these memories up during quiet, unoccupied moments. Brushing your teeth, driving, lying in bed. When your mind isn't actively focused on a task, it defaults to something called the default mode network, a state associated with self-reflection, exactly the kind of unstructured wandering that gives old shame memories room to surface. It's not a coincidence that these moments never seem to hit during something demanding your full attention. Your brain simply doesn't have the spare processing power to run the replay until things go quiet. Here's something that explains why this particularly affects certain people more than others. Chronic replayers tend to score high on a trait called self-conscious emotional intensity, meaning shame, when it does occur, registers more strongly and lingers longer than it does for other people. This isn't a weakness. It's often connected to a heightened awareness of social dynamics, the same trait that makes someone genuinely considerate of how their actions land on others. The cost of that awareness is that it doesn't come with an off switch, specifically calibrated for old, resolved situations. The alarm system stays sensitive long after the actual danger, if there ever was any, has completely passed. There's also something worth naming about what this cycle actually accomplishes, which is almost nothing. Unlike genuinely useful memory, which helps you learn and adjust future behavior, replaying an 11-year-old comment doesn't provide any new information. Nothing about running it again teaches your brain anything it doesn't already know. It's not analysis. It's just repetition, a loop with no destination, dressed up to feel like it's protecting you from making the same mistake again. Now here's something that might completely shift how you see this pattern. People who cringe over old memories are very often the ones who genuinely care most about how their actions affect others. People with a strong internal compass for social connection and decency. That sensitivity isn't a flaw to eliminate. It's frequently exactly what makes someone thoughtful, self-aware, easy to trust. The problem was never the caring itself. It's that the caring got stuck on a memory that stopped needing attention a very long time ago. Here's the part worth saying clearly. Because a lot of people quietly assume this means something is wrong with them. Replaying old embarrassing moments doesn't mean you're broken, overly sensitive, or unable to move on. It usually means your brain built a very sensitive alarm system a long time ago, back when social mistakes genuinely felt high stakes, and it simply hasn't been told convincingly enough that the threat has passed. The goal was never to erase the memory completely. It's recognizing the replay for what it actually is, an outdated alarm firing with no real fire left to put out, and letting it pass through instead of chasing it down every single time it shows up uninvited. If an old, completely irrelevant memory has ever ambushed you out of nowhere, hit subscribe. And if you want to understand why some people can't stop checking their phone even when there's genuinely nothing new waiting for them, that video is going to explain more than you expect. Click it.